Well, hi folks, time to get on and sow some seeds. I'll just show you what I've been getting up to in the last couple of days though. I've managed to recover my polytunnel. I had one of those rubbish little green covers on it which totally disintegrated, so I've got some proper polytunnel polythene, trenched it in, made myself some doors so it's solid as a rock now, and it should last for a good 10 years or so. Far better than it was, nice and tight. So there we go, so we'll get on and we'll sow a few seeds. Well, hi folks, it's time to sow some seeds. So what I'm sowing today will be some shallots called Allotment, which I grew last year because I had a disaster with the zebrun a couple of years ago, but they were absolutely fantastic last year. They were even bigger than zebrun. I'm growing two different types of leeks. There's an early maturing one called Zermatt, and a really winter hardy one called Neptune, which I'm going to be growing in these half tubs, ice cream tubs, about 5 inches deep. Nice lot of depth so you can get some decent root systems on them. And then as usual, my spring onions are the white Lisbon, which I'll be growing in clumps of about 8 to 10 in the little modules. So what I'm going to do with these shallots this year is I'm going to multi-sow them because they were so big last year. They were actually too big. So what I'm thinking is I think there's 250 seeds. I've got 80 modules, so I'll try and put maybe three in each cell. So I'm just not going to bother with a dibber. Just quickly dip my finger in like so, make a little impression, maybe half a centimetre deep. No messing about. This is just the Jack's Magic compost with a bit of vermiculite added again. So like I said, I'm going to try and get 3 in each. Whether I might get 1 in, I might get 4. Doesn't really matter either way. So like I said, try and get 3 in. Oh. Because like I said, again, they were so big last year, I'd rather have more slightly smaller ones in the same area than these giant great big whoppers I got last year, which were, I mean, some of them were bigger than my onions. They must have been half a pound each. So it's always nice to get some smaller ones that you can put whole in stews and stuff like that. But like I said, they were absolutely humongous last year. So in order to try and shrink them up, I'm just going to grow them a bit more densely. And hopefully they won't get as much nutrition and they won't grow as big. But because I'm getting 3 or 4 in the same space as I would have got 1 last year, there'll probably be more weight. So the overall yield will be better. I think that's about right. I've got about 3 or 4 in most. So these are little 40 cell modules. And I'm going to do 2 of these, but I won't bore you to death. And all I'm going to do with this simply now is just to riddle a little bit of compost over the top. Basically just to fill in the little indentations. If I just rake that over, that'll fill them all in. And I'm going to germinate these indoors in a little bit of warmth, sort of room temperature, and then as soon as they germinate, they'll come in here. Just like to get them started off in a little bit of warmth, and then once they're germinated, then they'll be off and running. So I'll do the leeks last. Let me have a look. Just move these out of the way. Oh dear. So on a similar vein, I'm going to grow my normal spring onions as I always do. I seem to find that they grow really quickly if you set them away in a module like this, rather than just growing them in the soil direct. I've never had any success with them doing that for some reason. But this way you can tend to get them really off and running, and you can end up getting a few spring onions as early as June. So likewise these, I'm going to plant these in clumps of at least 6 Don't care if there's more. So about 6 onions per clump. Plant a clump out, and then instead of having to pull individual ones up along your row, you just pull one single clump up, and you've got like a good half a dozen to 8 spring onions in one foul swoop. And they do really well when they're multi-sown like this, and the seed's as cheap as chips, so it doesn't matter. I think I got about 3,000 seeds for £2 or something, which is good. So that's those, 20 of those with probably 6 to 8 in, so that's going to give me about, what, 120 plus spring onions to go at, which is more than enough for the first sowing. And I'll sow these every month, so we've got a crop till all through summer and into winter. So again, just riddling a bit over, and likewise these, I'll germinate these indoors, and they should be good to go. So finally, like I said, I'm growing 2 different types of leeks this year. I did get quite a bit of rust last year on my garlic, which transferred onto the leeks. So these 2 varieties are apparently rust resistant to a certain extent. I've got my labels in my pocket somewhere, so I don't mix them up. Let's have a look. Shallot, Neptune and Zermatt, so we'll make sure we know where we are. So yeah, Neptune are a very winter hardy variety apparently. So we'll give those a go. I'm not sure how many seeds you get. I'm hoping to sow probably get about 40 plants out of each of these tubs. So that'll be 80 leeks altogether, which is more than enough. I'm just going to broadcast these over there. Try not to sow them too thickly. Quite small seeds. But anyway, we'll see. And these are Zermatt, which apparently you can take as baby leeks, and they're quite early to grow, to mature. So we'll give these a go. And again, these are apparently have some disease resistance to the dreaded rust. So that's that. Couldn't be easier. Just broadcast those along. I'll thin them out when they germinate, so I've got about 40 or so plants. And then again, just going to riddle a bit of compost over these. Not a great deal, just enough to cover them. And there we have it. So that's the leeks, shallots and the spring onions sowed. So I'll just cover these up, give them a little bit of a watering, cover them up with a bit of protection, put them in the house, let them germinate, and then move them on into here. So that's about it, folks. See you later.